Welcome to a series about Roblox UI libraries. I am Deity. Maybe you know me, maybe you don't. I created the. Shut up, Siri. I created the Mercury UI library with Abstract. You might know us. If you do, hi. If you don't, fuck you. Anyway, so I'm going to be trying to show you the basics of creating UI libraries since there are no to-date tutorials, or if there are, they're shit. If they're not, fuck you. Anyway, we're just going to go right into it. So what is a UI library? It's very simple. You just create some UI elements that you can always reuse in your code without having to rewrite the entire code for its behavior. It's very cool, very awesome, especially if they look good, like Mercury, or I don't know, Pepsi's UI library looks trash in my opinion, but whatever. Yeah, so let's get right into it. First, we're just gonna create a simple screen UI. You can name it what you want. I'll just name it my library for the sake of the tutorial. And we're gonna add a frame in it, and we're gonna call it main. Now this will be, if you could tell, this will be our main frame that's gonna hold basically everything. So what I like to do in the start, let me just change the view here. So just go on the frame, change the anchor point to 0.5 and the position to 0.50, 0.50. Not like that. I'll explain what this does in a bit. And change the size to like 400 and 300. Okay, so we have our basic window outline for our UI library. So what this does, anchor point, is basically where the position of the window starts. Say anchor point is at 0, 0, that will be top left, and then, so we set it to 0, 0. So it's top left, the point. You can see this like white square behind the resizing square. So if we set the position to 20 pixels offset, not 200, it is going to be off 20 pixels at this top left corner. Now, if we set it to 1 and 0, it's going to be top right, and as you can see, it's going to be 20 pixels to the right from this top right corner. And if we set it to 0.5 and 0, it's going to be in the middle plus 20 pixels that we set in the position. So how does this concern us? Very simple. You can use it to position your UI by setting both anchor points on the X and Y axis to 0.5 and then setting the position to 0.5 in scale. Now, what is scale and offset? If you're a retard and don't know yet, scale is the percentage of the screen. So if we have 1, it's going to be to the far right. If you have 0, it's going to be to the far left, and 0.5 is obviously going to be the middle. And offset is the screen size. 1920 is somewhere out here, 500 is like over here, 200 is over here. So basically these are pixels. Now I have to warn you, never work with your mouse, okay? Only if you're positioning this main frame, if you're like moving it out of way, it's fine. Other than that, do not use your mouse. It's gonna mess up the size, the position, and everything, okay? You have to learn to work with the property window. That's very important, okay? So now that you understand the basics of positioning, I'm gonna give you a few more examples later on, but this is enough for now. We're gonna carry on. So I'm just gonna make this background dark because who doesn't like dark mode? Okay, and I think I'm gonna add some corner. What this does, it makes the UI corners round, obviously. I like to go with 6 usually because it's not too much. And yeah, So this is already looking much better than before. Now, if you want a stroke, you just add the UI stroke. Obviously, do not use the what's it called, border thing, border size pixels. Do not use that, it's trash. Use UI stroke. Make sure it's border, otherwise it might affect some text. And we can just change the border color. As you can see, I'm not going to be using any border for the main frame because that looks gay. You usually just want to use a shadow. I wonder if I have shadow plugin. Yes, I do. This sorry, my throat is a bit dry because I'm fucking sick. So I'm just gonna plop in this shadow. This shadow plugin is shit. Usually I would use my shadow plugin, but it's fucking gone because Roblox is trash. And yeah, now you can see why it's trash. Can't even fucking see it. GG. Hold on. Let's try that again. 15. Shut up, dude. Okay, this is clearly not working because it's retarded. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna try and find my plugin. Be right back. Okay, we're back and I found my plugin. It's fucking gone from the marketplace. I don't know why. I'm just gonna install it. Yeah. So if you want to get this, I'm gonna link it in the description probably if I don't forget. Very good plugin created by me like years ago. Yeah, hope it works. Just save this and switch over to this. Go back in. Okay, we're back and Roblox is loading. There we go. So we're gonna go back to this frame and I'm gonna add my shadow. Now before I do that, make sure that your z-index behavior on the screen GUI is global. Why? Because otherwise the shadow is going to be broken. Also, global z-index behavior is better because it's easier to use layering using the z-index. What is a z-index? It determines what layer the frame is going to be on. If I have this frame and another frame, which I'm going to add right here, if this frame has a smaller z-index than this frame, it's going to be behind. Now, how do I show this? Well, I just set the z-index to -1. Now this frame is behind. If I offset the position a little, you can see it's behind. Anyway, back to the UI. I'm just going to add a simple shadow right there. Boom. Looks much better, much less gay. Okay, continue. Yeah. So we have our we have our basic outline. Now it's time to start adding stuff. Usually you want to add a top bar, so I'm gonna do that real quick. I'm just gonna use a frame, call it top bar. Now this is where sizing comes in handy. Normally a dumbass would do this. What happens when you do this? Let's resize. What happened? Well, you're retarded. So what you want to do is size it to 1 for the full length of the frame, and then 0 for like no offset pixels. We don't want any extra pixels. And then we're gonna want 0 in the scale because we want it to always stay the same height. And we're gonna have like 20 pixels and no 1 0 0 20. 20 is too little. How about 30? That's looking better. Now what is the difference? Well, you can resize it. It's always gonna stay the same. Your poggers. Let's go. Now we want this to look good. So how do we make these corners round, the top ones, but these bottom ones not? Well, we take the UI corner, paste it in. Now it's round, but we still have these bottom gay corners. So what we do, we put in another frame, remove the border. Now this is where anchor point comes in handy. Since we want this frame to always be at the bottom, we're gonna use anchor point 1 on the y-axis. And now I can set the position to 1 on scale, and it's always going to be in the bottom. It's going to size from bottom. So if I change the size to 1 on scale for full width and like 0.5 for half the height, boom, it's always going to stay half the height. It's always going to be in the bottom. It's going to stay perfect. Now we're just going to recolor these to like our theme color. Let's go with a nice color here, blue. Why not? There we go. This color is shit. Let me take a different one. I'm gonna go with I am sorry about that. I am back, and I have my color. Looks pretty good. Okay, so now that we have the top bar, what is inside the top bar? Usually the title and the exit button or whatever. So we're just gonna put in a text label. Usually what I do is I set the size to 0.5010, and then you set the text X alignment to left, and you add a UI padding element inside of this, and you set the padding left to like 4 pixels. 4 is too little, let's use 8, and make the background transparent. So what is this padding gonna do? It's gonna offset the text so it doesn't look bad. And I'm gonna call this title. Make sure to always name your elements so you don't act like a dumbass later when you're scripting it. And yeah, so now we're gonna choose a font. I usually use Ubuntu because it's the best font, but it doesn't really fit this style. I think Gotham fits more, and I'm gonna make it white and put UI library. There you go. Now, as you can see, it's kind of off, so I can just take some minuscule changes, add padding to the top. There we go. And now we're gonna have the controls. So the controls are usually images. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna add 2 images. I'm only gonna do 1 because I'll just have an exit button. Now, since this has to be on the right, I'm just gonna change the anchor point to 1 and the position to 1, and now it's on the right. Very simple. I'm gonna change the size to 1 on the y-axis and 0 in the offset. So we can see it's 30, so I'm just gonna change both to 30 in the offset. And there we go. Now, if we were to do it just like this, it would look trash because there is no border. So we're gonna have to tweak this a little. So we're gonna have to add like offset over here, -8 maybe. Maybe that's too much. Now this is all design. You don't really have to do this, but I still do it because I have autism and stuff like this triggers me. Yeah. There we go, much better. Now we're gonna call it the exit button. Now notice it's not a button. That's because we're gonna script the button behavior ourselves because Roblox buttons are bad. I'm gonna make the background transparent, and I'm gonna use this cool icon plugin. I need an X, bro. Cross. No. Jesus, dude. Okay, dude. I'm just gonna go with minimize then, whatever. Yeah. So as we can see, this looks fucking trash, so I'm gonna make it even smaller. Maybe 6. Now it's not centered, so how can I center it? I'll just set the the Y anchor point to 0.5. That means the Y axis midpoint is going to be at 0.5, and set this position to 0.5. Then we don't need this, and now it's always going to be centered. That looks much better. Yeah, then this is going to be minimized, and I'm going to have some type of unload UI thing or something. Yeah, so we have our basic frame done. It's not that hard, you just need some time to figure out what you want. And yeah, we're gonna get to the scripting part now, just creating the base like script that we're gonna use later. Yeah.